Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. Let me introduce myself first. My name is Miss Norhana Aini binti Saini. Just call me Miss Hana. So I will be teaching you for this subject, Operation Management, BMG 20203. Okay, I will do our class mode is BL mode, okay, blended learning mode, okay. Even though in this class, I understand that some of you is FTW, meanwhile for some of you is BL, okay, but I've been instructed by the faculty, okay, to run this class as a BL mode, okay, so meaning that we will meet 2 times, okay, during a class, okay, which is synchronous, okay. Meanwhile, for another one is we will meet via asynchronous, okay. So if let's say we having a class for synchronous, okay, meaning that all of you need to come to the class, okay, because for this semester, we will conduct our class physically, go back to physical one, okay. So that's why we need to come to the class, okay. If let's say we conduct our class as a asynchronous, okay, so meaning that you need to do the self-learn, okay. So I will give you my recorded lecture, okay. So I hope that you will listen to my recorded lecture, okay. So for today, okay, I will cover for chapter 1 first. Okay, so for another video, I will cover for chapter 2. Okay, so let's start our class first. Okay, let me share to you the slide first. Okay, so this is our subject, okay, operation management. Okay, just like what I mentioned in the Telegram group, okay, so this is our main reference, okay, and this is the previous edition, okay, the first edition, okay, the book that I showed to you in the group, that is the second edition, okay, the latest one, but you can use either one, okay. So for chapter 1, we will learn on the introduction to the production management and also the productivity. Okay, so for operation management, basically we will involve, okay, the theory part and also the calculation part. Okay, for example, in this chapter, okay, introduction to operation management will be on the theory part. Meanwhile, for the productivity, we will do some of the calculation on the productivity itself. Okay, so this is the learning outcome, okay, the subtopic that we will cover, okay, for this chapter. Okay, so number 1 definitely is the definition of the operation management, okay, and then we need to learn on the basic component of the operation system. Okay, next is understand the reason for studying the operation management, why operation management is essential to all of the organization, and then identify the role of the operation management, okay, and also objective of the operation management. Okay, next we will learn also on the characteristic of the service and also the product, okay, and then relationship between operation and also other function, and then we need to understand also the productivity and also the measurement, which is the calculation itself lah. Okay, and the last one will be the challenges in operation management. Okay. All right, so now let's go for the definition of the operation management. Okay, so when we talk about the operation management, okay, meaning that is the activities related to the creation of goods and services by converting a transforming input into output. Okay, so as we know, for the operation management, okay, it's very essential to any kind of the business. Okay, so because they become very critical one, very crucial one. Okay, why? If let's say there is no operation management happen in the organization, so that organization cannot be running. Okay, so that's why we need to know lah, okay, the definition of the operation management. Okay, meaning that we convert, okay, our input into the output. Okay, so that we can have the good or the services. Okay, so when we talk about the definition of the operation management, so it involve, okay, so this what we call it, the cycle lah. Okay, so number 1, okay, we must have the input. Okay, so input meaning that, for example, we have the raw material, financial support, human resources, equipment, and also the information. Okay, so meaning that the input that the company have, okay, the input that the business have, okay, for example, raw material. If let's say you want to produce a chocolate, for example, raw material, for example, we must have a cocoa, okay, we must have a sugar or something like that, okay. Then for financial support, definitely you must start with your capital, you must have a capital. Okay, human resources, definitely we need the staff, because the staff will running the factory, okay. And then we must have the equipment, for example, the machine, okay, what we call that, the computer or something like that, and also the information, okay. For example, information on choosing the best cocoa, okay, the information on how we like to bake the cocoa, for example, okay. So that is for the input, meaning that input whatever that we have, okay, whatever the companies have, whatever the business have, okay, so that we call that as the input. Okay, so how they will turn into the output, they will go through the transformation process. Okay, so transformation process, for example, we have the assembling. Okay, if let's say for the factory car, okay, the car factory, okay, definitely they will have the assembling. Okay, so this unit, okay, they will go for the assembling for the door. Okay, so for this unit, they will assembling for the chip, for example. So they will use the transformation process. Okay, beside that also, for example, painting, okay, testing or checking. Okay, if they say just now we have the chocolate factory, okay, definitely they will transform, okay, into the baking. Okay, and then mixing, for example, so that we consider as the transformation process. Okay, and then after we go through the transformation process, then it will turn into the output. Okay, so the output, it can be either good or services. Okay, so if let's say you have the chocolate factory, so definitely the good must be chocolate. Okay, so any kind of the chocolate confectionery, okay, it can be a lot different flavor, for example. Okay, all right, so when we have the output, after we have the output, then it's time for us, okay, to sell to the customers, okay, to sell to the market. Okay, so once you sell to the market, definitely you will receive a feedback, okay, from the customers, okay, for your goods, also the services. So feedback also play very important in the operation system. Okay, so why we need a feedback? Because we can have the maybe the variety of the product, okay, and also we can do the what we call it, improve our product and our good and also our services. Okay, which is we will go back to the input. Okay, so this is the four important element of the operation system. Okay, we have input, transformation process, output, and the last one is a feedback. Okay, so let's go through one by one. Okay, which is I already explained just now. Okay, so what is the input? Okay, input is the basic material needed to produce goods and services. Okay, for example, raw material, financial support, human resource, and also equipment and information. Okay, transformation process, the activities related to the conversion of input. So that is the keyword. Okay, conversion of input into output that involve the operating strategies. Okay, and then output is the final result obtained after the transformation process, which include good and also the services. Okay, and then we have the feedback. Okay, so feedback is an act of control mechanism measuring the actual performance against the expected or planned performance. Okay, so meaning that starting from the input that we have, okay, we already plan, okay, what kind of the flavor, what kind of the design that we want to produce. Okay, that's why we at the end we must have a feedback so that we can know lah whether whatever that we have planned, is it as what ever we expect, or maybe it can become vice versa. Okay, all right, so next is the importance of the operation management. Okay, so why operation management is very important? Because that is a major function in an organization. Okay, not even the account department is very important. Not even the HR department is very important. Operation management also is very important. Okay, towards the business. Okay, and then number two, know how goods and services are produced. Okay, why? Because you already have one of the component of the operation management, which is good and also the services. Okay, so from there you can measure, okay, how many goods that you want to produce, okay, and then how well, how quality, okay, of that product. Okay, so next is understand what operation managers do, which is the roles and responsibility of the operation manager. Next is ensure the timely delivery of the product. Okay, because when we know the operation management, okay, so we will work together with the supplier, with the distributor, okay, which is we will learn more on the supply chain lah. Okay, so we can know, we can estimate, okay, the time delivery to the of the product itself, okay, and also improve the overall activity. Okay, so now let's go for the role of operation managers. Okay, so for the role of the operation managers, we have 5. First is planning, organizing, staffing, leading, and also controlling. Okay, so let's look one by one. Okay, so number 1, okay, so the operation managers, okay, first you need to start with the planning. Okay, so what is the planning? Is setting goal and determining ways to achieve the goal. Okay, so in our daily life, for example, definitely we start our life, okay, our daily life, okay, with a planning. Okay, same goes also in the operation management also. Okay, so you as the operation manager, you need to start with a planning, meaning that you set a goal, okay, you set a target, how many output that you want to produce per day, for example. Okay, so everything will be start from the planning. Okay, second, after you have a plan, you must have the organizing. So what is the organizing? Determine the task to be done, how to get them done, and who is supposed to get them done. Okay, so the other word is for the organizing. Okay, you need to make sure that whatever that you have planned, okay, must be on track. Okay, so that will be organizing. Why? Because you need to know lah how to produce the good. Okay, so what are the tasks, okay, in order to produce the good or services. Okay, who are the personnel, who are the staff, okay, that responsible to produce the good. So that will be under organizing. Okay, next we have the staffing. Okay, so staffing meaning that recruiting qualified employees to perform production job and training these employees to be skillful. Okay, remember that one of the element is input, okay, which is we have the employees. Okay, so human resource. Okay, so human resource also is very important because we need to know lah. Okay, when we have the operation management, okay, we must have somebody, okay, to perform the job. So that's why we must have the staffing. If let's say you want to choose the staff also, make sure you recruit the staff that is very qualified one, okay, that have the skill, they have the knowledge, okay, in order to perform the production job. Okay, if let's say we want to launch a new system, a new product, for example, make sure, okay, we as the operation managers, we provide them a training. Okay. All right, so next we have leading. Okay, so for the leading, okay, the responsibility of the operation managers need to lead, okay, by communicating with and motivating employees in performing their job. Okay, so when we talk about the leading, it's all about based on the human interaction. Okay, so you need to guide them, okay, you need to motivate them, okay, so that they will perform very well. Okay, so in terms of your productivity of your operation also will be high. Okay, all right, and the last one will be the controlling. Okay, so for the controlling, you as a manager, you need to ensure that activities performed are in accordance with plan. Monitoring function performed by the operation manager. Okay, so when we talk about the controlling, it's all about the quality of the product, of the output that we have been produce. Okay, so whatever that we have planned, okay, controlling is just like what we call that as the last gate. Okay, before we sell to the customers. Okay, so they will check lah whether this product, okay, is whatever is based on whatever we have planned or not. Okay, if let's say the quality is good one, okay, then okay lah, meaning that we already produce, okay, already follow whatever that we have planned. Okay, so that's why we have the controlling. Okay. All right, next is the activities for the operation management. Okay, so number one, okay, you need to achieving customer satisfaction, okay, by providing the customers with what they want from a product or service, okay. So one of the element is the feedback, okay. So when we want to produce the new good, okay, the new service, okay, why we produce that new good or service? Because they will based on the customer demand, okay, customer satisfaction or something like that lah, okay. So meaning that whatever that the customers want, we need to fulfill, okay, their want and also demand, so that they will satisfy. Okay, so that is the main purpose lah, okay, why we need the operation management. Okay, so beside that also we need to using resources efficiently. Okay, so utilization of the resources, obtaining the maximum effect. Okay, so if let's say we have that kind of the raw material, okay, so make sure the raw material must be from the quality one. Okay, so that we can produce the good quality product or services. Okay, if let's say we have the employees, make sure the employees must be trained well, okay, or they have a very skillful one. Okay, so meaning that we are using our resources, we utilize our resources efficiently. Okay, all right, and then next is a smooth production process. Okay, so for smooth production process, enable the organization to produce a greater amount of output with lesser input. Okay, so smooth production processes meaning that if let's say we have, okay, a very small input, okay, if let's say we are very clever one, okay, we are very good one, okay, we can produce, okay, our output, okay, in a very quality one, a greater one, okay, with the lesser input. Even though our input, our financial is a very small one, but if let's say we transform it, okay, to the good one, to the quality one, okay, so definitely it will up to the greater amount of the output. Okay, so that kind of the output must be very good one lah. Okay, so that is we call that as a very you are meaning that we also fully utilize, okay, our resources efficiently also. Okay, all right, and then we have this, okay, meeting expected demand and also the delivery date. Okay, so able to fulfill and deliver customers demand on time will lead to customer satisfaction. Okay, so for the operation management, okay, we need to work also with the timeline, okay, with the delivery date, okay, because they will be upon customers demand. Okay, if let's say the customers want by today, so meaning that by today they must have the stock, they must have the item. Okay, so because they will lead to the customer satisfaction, which is the first activities of the operation management. Okay, we need to fulfill the customer satisfaction. Okay, and then next one is being an effective producer. Okay, so it help the organization to produce product according to specification and standard, okay, by maximizing the product value. Okay, so if let's say we want to become the effective producer, make sure whatever product, okay, or services that we produce, okay, the good that we produce, make sure it up to the standard, okay, according to the standard, which is the quality one lah. Okay, and the last one is adapting for future survival. Okay, so adapting for future survival, able to respond rapidly to change in the product or process design. Okay, if let's say we have a very new technology, so make sure we follow that kind of the new technology. We cannot use the, you know, the previous technology because it become obsolete. Okay, so if let's say you want your company, your business still exist, okay, still running, okay, on the right track, make sure you need to adapt with any changes. Okay. Okay, so now let's look at the differences, the characteristic of the good and also services, okay, which is the output lah. So the output, it can be good, it can be services, okay. So now let's look at the characteristic of the services first, okay. Services, for example, if let's say you, for example, me myself, okay, as the lecturer, I'm provide the services, okay, by teaching. Okay, so that we consider as the services. Okay, for example, customer service. Okay, customer service counter or something like that. Okay, so also they provide services. Okay, hotel, for example. Okay, they provide also the services. Okay, so this is the characteristic of the services. Okay, so number one, when we talk about the services, is the intangible output. Okay, meaning that it cannot be seen, smell, heard, taste or touch before they are brought. Okay, so for example, right now I'm giving a lecture. Okay, so I'm giving a lecture. Okay, you cannot see the word come from my mouth. Okay, we just see the word from the slide. Okay, so meaning that that can be seen. Okay, that become the intangible. Okay, same goes also if let's say you go for the hotel. Okay, the hotel can provide you a room. So you can see lah only the what you call that, the pillow. So that will be what we call that, the item for that. But service of the hotel provider, you cannot see that. Okay, so that we call it as the intangible output. Okay, and then for the services also, output that cannot be stored or inventorized. Okay, because there will be perishability of the services. Okay, so the service normally, okay, it cannot be stored lah. Okay, and then when we have the services, we provide the services. Okay, it must be high interaction with customers. Okay, uniqueness in demand is what the customers are paying for. Okay, you go for the hotel. Okay, definitely if let's say you pay a lot, make sure the room that you provide for you, okay, must be very good one. Okay, for example, you learn, okay, you continue your study with MSU. Okay, make sure the lecturers, okay, must be very quality one. Okay, must have the qualification, okay, with that kind of the topic or subject. Okay, so that's why we sometimes I always ask you, okay, do you understand or not? So far okay everyone? So meaning that we have the high interaction with customers. Okay, all right, so next one, okay, still in the service, yeah. Okay, we have labor intensive. Okay, so what is the labor intensive? Okay, so it's a service delivery require customer to interact face to face with the service provider. Okay, for example, if let's say for the person who work with a customer service, okay, so sometimes we prefer to go to the counter instead of we having the phone call. Why? Because for the services itself, okay, we must look, okay, that person face to face. Okay, the service delivery, okay, normally they will go face to face interaction. Okay, for example, during the educational field, okay, so that's why it's better for us to have the face to face class, okay, instead of the online class. Okay, for example, online class, sometimes you we never know that whether you understand or not. But if let's say we're having a physical class, definitely, okay, by looking at your face, I know whether you understand or not. That's why we have the interact face to face. Okay, it's better for me to explain to you. Okay, it's very clear one. Okay, same goes also for those who to the service provider. Okay, for example, if let's say you go for the what you call that, the service center, okay, for the car, for example, definitely they will explain to you, okay, what kind of the service that you want, okay, what kind of the maybe some of your car is broken or something like that, they will explain to you. Okay, so why? Because they need the interaction face to face. Okay, and the last one is difficulty in measuring quality. Okay, service quality may vary from one situation to another. Yes, okay, because we cannot have a standardized quality of the product. Okay, if let's say you for the services, okay, some of the customers, okay, they really satisfied with that kind of the services. Some of them will not. Okay, so it's very hard to measure the quality of the services. Okay, for example, I'm giving you a lecture. Okay, some of you might be understand very fast. Okay, some of you might be delay or something like that. So that will be for the services lah. Okay, so that's why the difficulty of the measuring quality. Okay, we cannot set a standard. No. Okay, some of you might be like, some of you might be don't. Okay, all right. So that will be for the characteristic of the services. Okay, so now let's look at the characteristic of the good. Okay, so characteristic of the good, number one is a tangible product. Okay, tangible product meaning that that product can be seen, can be touched, can be smelled. Okay, for example, if let's say the food provider, okay, so restaurant, for example, so they are more on the good. Okay, what else? We have the product itself. Okay, at the supermarket. Okay, so that product, as long as that product is we call that as the exists. Okay, so we consider as the tangible product. Okay, so next, the characteristic of the good. Okay, output that can be stored. Yes. Okay, if let's say service, we cannot be stored. Okay, maybe we just store in our mindset, okay, in our mind. But if let's say good, yes, we have a physical room. Okay, we have a store, we have the warehouse, for example, so that output can be stored. Okay, so goods are often produced and stored until the customers need them. Okay, that's why if let's say we have a hypermarket, for example, okay, so we will spot our product, okay, the product, okay, from the store. Okay, so once the numbers of the product, okay, at the shelf, okay, become decreased, then we need to top up. Okay, if let's say the customers request, then kita top up lah. Okay, next, we have no interaction with customers. Okay, customers just purchase the product that suit their needs. Okay, if let's say service, we must have high interaction, but for the good, okay, it's low interaction. Why? Because customers just buy and use. That's it. Okay, they just buy whatever that they want. Okay, if let's say they don't want, then they never buy. Okay, so that's why we have the low interaction with customers. Okay, and then next one is capital intensive. Okay, so for capital intensive, meaning that organizations are moving toward automation, which means money is needed. Okay, if let's say you are using the new technology, definitely you will invest a lot of money. Okay, so you want to use a new machine, for example, a new equipment, definitely you will have invest more money. Okay, so that's why the capital is intensive, okay, compared to the service lah. All right, and the last one is in measuring quality. Okay, so quality of product depend on whether the manufacturer meets the standard and specification or otherwise. Yes, okay, for the good itself, it's easy for us to identify whether that product, that good is good or bad. Okay, is quality one or not. Okay, if let's say the price, okay, is very expensive one, definitely the product must be in a quality one. Okay, if let's say you buy a product from kedai RM2, for example, kedai eco, okay, don't expect that product just like you sell, okay, at IKEA, different. Okay, so meaning that is when we talk about the good, so it's easy for us to know, okay, whether to measuring the quality lah, whether that is good or bad. Okay. All right, so now is the relationship between the operation and also the other function also. Okay, so there are three main subsystems in the organization. We have operation or production. We have a finance. Okay, so for the organization itself, so these three main subsystem, operation, finance, and another one is marketing. Okay, they are relate together. Okay, so meaning that they need each other. Okay, each for this department, okay, they need to work together lah. Okay, number one is the operation or production. Okay, so operation, why this department is very essential? Because they will producing and delivering good and services, and also they will converting input into the output. Okay, meanwhile for the finance department, okay, finance area, they will securing resources, okay, such as the raising fund. Okay, if let's say there is no finance department, okay, so operation cannot produce their output. Okay, cannot deliver their good and services. Okay, and also preparing a budget to be spent within a certain period of time. Okay, so basically when we talk about the finance, okay, it's all about on the money itself lah. Okay, all right, then the last one we have the marketing. Okay, so for the marketing, okay, once we have the product or services, definitely we need to do the promotion, okay, to the customers. Okay, that's why marketing, okay, we need to work with marketing also lah. Okay, so marketing, promoting and selling good and services. Okay, so marketing also with assessing customers need and want. Okay, so only the marketing person also, okay, marketing department also need to know lah, okay, in terms of the complaint, in terms of the whatever the customer want and also need. Okay, all right, and the last one for the marketing, communicating the information gathered to the operation function. Okay, all right, so this is basically that is related to the operation. Okay, so we have the finance and accounting, we have the we have the marketing, okay, finance and accounting, okay, in terms of the budget, cost, money, everything apa semua lah. Okay, marketing, okay, in terms of the what you call it, the sale, okay, the promotion, okay, and then human resource, definitely the staff itself, okay, and also the suppliers. Okay, so suppliers also play important role, okay, towards the operation management. Okay, because supplier, okay, they will provide the raw material, okay, so that the company can have the raw material. Okay, all right, so now let's go for the next one, okay, which is we want to measure in terms of the productivity. Okay, so what is the productivity? Okay, so the productivity is the ratio of output, okay, which is the good and services, divided by the input, okay, which is, for example, resources, okay, we have the labor, capital, or something like that. Okay, so that will be for the productivity, meaning that whatever that we have, we produce, okay, it must be divided by the input. Okay, so that will be for the productivity. Okay, okay, so why the this is the importance of the productivity. Okay, number one, low unemployment rate. Okay, number two, improve living standard for nation. Next, reduce operating costs and increase revenue. Okay, so this is the explanation on that. Okay, so low unemployment rate. Okay, so low unemployment rate, okay, because high production of goods and services need more human capital. Okay, so that it will lead to low unemployment rate. Okay, so everyone have their own work. Okay, if let's say the productivity is very high, okay, the high production, okay, the volume is very high, definitely we will need more human capital. Okay, so if let's say we need human capital, meaning that, okay, everyone have the job. Okay, no one jobless anymore. Okay, so that's why the importance of the productivity, so that we can have the low unemployment rate. Okay, everyone have their own work. Okay, unless the productivity is low, okay, productivity low, orang pun dah tak ada nak buat kerja, so that's why the unemployment rate become high. Okay, all right, number two, the importance of productivity, improve living standard for the nation. Okay, so increase in productivity allow labor, capital and management to receive additional payment. Okay, meaning that higher payroll. Okay, since the productivity is very high, okay, they have the a lot of workers working with them. Okay, so that they will give improved living standard for the nation. Everyone have their own salary. Okay, everyone every year, okay, they will receive the increment of the salary. Okay, so meaning that the employee itself, okay, will have a better living. Okay, and also the nation. Okay, so that nation become the developing lah, developed country lah. Okay, so because of this. Okay, all right, and then the last one is reduce operating costs and increase revenue. Okay, so unit price of input is reduced, leading to lower operating costs. Okay, so the organization earns more. Okay, so if let's say you are very good in terms of the productivity, okay, you will have less employee, but that employee is very skillful. Okay, very multi-skill, for example, okay, so they can produce a work, okay, supposedly that work can be done by the 10 people, but since you have a very skillful workers, okay, very good workers, so maybe from 10 you can reduce to 5, okay, so when you reduce to 5 employees, okay, the output is still the same, just like you hire the 10 employees. So the meaning that you punya operating cost too, okay, they will reduce, okay, in order to increase the revenue. So that is the important of the productivity, okay. So the productivity is the, what we call that, the main successful factor, okay, towards the operation management, okay. All right, so this is the measurement, okay, how you want to measure the productivity. Okay, we have two types. First is single factor productivity measurement, okay, which is the formula just now lah. Okay, meaning that productivity unit produced, which is the output, will be divided into the input, okay. All right, so for the single factor productivity, okay, we just use one resource input. For example, labor hours, okay. So this is the example, okay. So Magah Holding generated 80,000 units of output utilizing 1,500 labor hours, okay. So determine the labor productivity of Magah Holding by using the single unit, okay. So how you want to do that? Okay, so this is the way how you want to calculate that. Okay, so productivity meaning that the output, okay, divide by the input, which is the labor hours. Okay, so 80,000, okay, divide by 1,500. Okay, so we have the 53.3 units per labor hour. Okay, so when we do the calculation, okay, so we need to know lah, okay, their unit, okay, for example, units per labor hour. If let's say you just put 53.3, okay, and there is no unit after this, there is wrong. Okay, kalau you tak tulis units per labor, benda ni salah. You tulis 53.3 saja, benda ni salah. Okay, dia kena comes together. 53.3 units per labor. Okay, because if let's say the calculation, okay, the units per labor, which is labor hour lah. Okay. Alright, so another one, we have multi-factor productivity measurement. Okay, so multi-factor productivity measurement, it will be uses multiple resources input such as capital, labor, material, energy, and other resources. Okay, if let's say single, we just use only single factor, which is the labor hour. But if let's say we use multi-factor meaning that, okay, dekat bawah ni, okay, kita guna banyak lah. Okay, capital, labor, material, energy, and also other resources. Okay, so for this is the formula for the multi-factor productivity. Okay, so multi-factor meaning that the output divide by the multi-factor. For example, we have labor, material, energy, capital, and also the miscellaneous. Okay, so this is the example of that. Okay, so Magah Holding makes 80,000 units of a product to be sold in the market. The accounting department report that for this job, its actual costs are 7,000 for labor, 13,000 for material, and 8,000 for the overhead. Okay, so how you will calculate this productivity? So this is the calculation. Okay, so the output is 80,000. Okay, and then we have the multi-factor. So in that question, they did mention that we have the labor material, we have the energy, we have the capital, and also we have the miscellaneous. Okay, so meaning that labor material 7,000, okay, energy 13,000, okay, capital, sorry, not 1,000, is 1,000 lah. Okay, then we have the capital. Okay, capital is 8,000. So we have 2.86 unit per RM. Okay, so depend lah if let's say dollar. Okay, so why? Because it involve the labor material. Okay, the capital. That's why we must have the RM. Okay. All right. So both single and multi-factor productivity measurement can be used to assess the productivity. Okay. Multi-factor productivity measurement provide a better picture because it include all the input used in the production. If let's say we are using single factor productivity, we just use only one factor. But if let's say for the multi-factor, we use so many factors. Okay. So that's why multi-factor productivity is much better lah. Okay. All right, so this is another example also. Okay, so now we go for the productivity variable. Okay, so they have a 3 variable. Okay, for the productivity. Okay, so when we talk about productivity variable, input play a significant role in determining the productivity of an organization, also called as the productivity variable. Okay, so meaning that the other word is they can be changed lah. Okay, so the 3 important variable we have labor, capital, and also the management. Okay, so when we talk about the labor, it's all about the skill, and healthy labor contribute more efficiently. Okay, so if let's say you have a very skillful employee, okay, you have a very healthy employee, definitely the productivity will be up. Okay, will be going up. Okay, however, if let's say you don't have that not enough training for your employees, okay, your employee also not very well, definitely the productivity will be down. Okay, so that's why labor also play important, okay, in terms of the variability of the productivity. Okay, next we have the capital. Okay, for the capital, organization must have a better plan in place for the both labor and also the capital. The other word, you need to fully utilize your own capital. Okay, do not overwaste. Okay, for example, so you must utilize that lah. Okay, and the last one is the management. Okay, so good management focus on enhancing the skill and knowledge of their labor. If let's say you have a poor management also, they will affect, okay, they will give impact towards the productivity of the business. Okay. All right, and then capital is properly invested in the new technology also. Okay, so now is the challenges that happen in the operation management nowadays. Okay, number one is a global focus. Okay, so global focus meaning that faced with the challenges of innovation in generating and producing ideas, equipment, and also the good. Okay, so nowadays everything is in a very rapidly changing in the technologies, so we need to adapt with that. Okay, we need to aware with what kind of the latest technology that using, okay, with another factory or something like that. Okay, so we need to have focus on that lah. Okay, next is supply chain partnering. Okay, so supply chain partnering need to establish a good long-term relationship with critical players in the supply chain. Okay, for example, we have the supplier. Okay, we have the distributor. Okay, we have what we call that, the customers or something like that. So that the person, okay, that involved, okay, in our supply chain. Okay, make sure we have a good long-term relationship with them lah. Okay, try to avoid the conflict with them because they are essential, okay, with our when we are running, okay, our business, okay, especially in operation management. Okay, next one is the sustainability. Okay, so for the sustainability, product must be recyclable, biodegradable, and also environmentally friendly. Okay, nowadays, okay, people looking for the green product. Okay, for the product that can be recyclable, okay, that can be biodegradable, okay, because there will be issues, okay, towards the environment also lah. Okay, if let's say you cannot produce the what we call that, the green product, definitely the customers will run away. Okay, because they do believe that the business, okay, must contribute back to the society, to the environment, for example. Okay, so that's why make sure the product must be sustainability lah. Okay, next is a rapid product development. Okay, so rapid product development meaning that need to be responsive to development due to rapid environmental changes. Not even the technology. Okay, so nowadays is, I can say, is overall. Okay, everything is moving forward. Okay, not moving backward, but moving forward. Okay, so that's why in terms of your R&D, for example, research and development, okay, must be very good. Okay, must be equipped with the latest technology, latest information, latest knowledge. Okay, on that. Okay, so the next one, the next challenges is mass customization. Okay, be creative and innovative in designing new product for a diverse target market. Yes, in terms of the packaging also play very important. Okay, why? Because if let's say want the customers to buy your product, definitely they will buy in terms of the quality of the product itself and also the packaging. Okay, so that's why if let's say you notice that, okay, even though for example shampoo, okay, those days maybe that design of the product is maybe the cylinder one, okay, but nowadays we have so many kind of the designing of the new product. Okay, I just sometimes they rebranding. Okay, all right, and the last one is just in time performance. Okay, so just in time performance, identify the section that require reduction and inventory control. Okay, make sure whatever that you have been stored in warehouse, okay, in a port, for example, it will not take time too long. Okay, so that is for the just in time performance lah. Okay, don't wait, don't let the customers waiting for the delivery of the product. Okay, so that we consider as just in time also. Okay. Okay, what else we have? We have also the empowering of the employees. Okay, giving more power to employees can make them feel more valued and free to make the decision. Yes, empowerment is very important lah. Okay, and also it will help to increase the productivity. Okay, when we have the empowerment of the employees, okay, the employees seems that the business, okay, the organization believe with their capabilities. Okay, so that can also lead to the staff loyalty. Okay, they will have no issues on the turnover. Okay, high rate turnover tak ada. Okay, why? Because you empower them, you trust with them, so that's why they will increase the productivity. Okay, all right, so this is the another example also for the calculation, okay, the measurement of the productivity. So I think the next class we can do this kind of the exercise. Okay. Okay, so this is another example also. Okay. So the end. Okay. So the end of our chapter 1. Okay. So if let's say you are not understand, okay, so you can ask me in the Telegram group, okay, or if let's say we're having the synchronous class, okay, you can ask me in the class lah. Okay. So I will see you for the next video, okay, for our chapter 2. Okay, thank you everyone.